Bow down before my psycho power.
The highly anticipated After Evo Japan patch is finally here. This bad boy is 6 pages. There's so many changes in here. This really will reshape the game. But in this video, I just want to give you a general overview of which characters got hit, got buffed, nerfed, and all the changes that are coming. For the shop, they're adding a new set of costume packs. I don't think we have any official images of what these look like just yet, but it's the Ninja pack and it's the Shinobi pack. And then they're adding a legacy costume for Lily. And then the final thing that's coming to the shop is one free avatar customization. Once again, don't have a picture. Now, 2, the functional improvements and bug fixes, to go in a little bit more detail. So the first 2 changes, they're talking about fixing the netcode. One is about the icon when it displays red. They want to make that more accurate. The third thing that they have here is pretty interesting. It's related to the player's stats, and it says that it has been improved for better clarity. So did they change the names? Because the names is kind of clueless, and this is something players have been complaining about since the game came out. And that's pretty much it for the functional improvements and bug fixes. Now when we talk about the actual characters themselves, this is where things get pretty interesting. First, I'll list out the common changes that affects everyone, and then we'll go character by character. The 3 things that they focused on in this section, it says characters who are not fully able to exhibit their unique characteristics and unique strengths. 2, it says characters with disproportionately strong moves or high combo damage, okay. And then 3, situations where one player dominates the attack, making it difficult to utilize defensive techniques effectively. So most of the common changes are very simple, so I won't be reading them. They more so just focus on fixing the game and making sure it works. From the heat changes to the rage arts to the slow motion to the move list, it's all about just making the game work, so there's no reason to read all of it. You can pause and read if you want, but I'll just focus on the important things, like the throw change. So the throws, this is actually a big one. They talked about this, and here it is. The counter hit throws has been nerfed from 10 frames to 14 frames. So this means it's actually able to be broken. They added sound effects when the counter hit to make the situation clearer. Okay, nice, that's good. Stomp, when you run at your opponent and you step on them, it usually would break the floor or something like that, and they changed it to where it doesn't do that anymore, which I guess is fair. You know, Yoshimitsu has a setup where he can knock you to the ground, and before you can get up, he can run at you and stomp. So it is kind of like a guaranteed, unguaranteed combo starter, like it's madness. So here's when we get into the individual characters. Alyssa has 2 buffs, 1 nerf, and 1 neutral change. For her 2 buffs, they basically just corrected some things. The range of it, the whiffing of it, they're making her more consistent. For Asuka, they have a section here called Balanced Direction. Adjustments were made to improve the usability of the new element in Tekken 8, namely whatever that is, and Destabilizer, to expand the variety of opponents' options. So this character has 8 buffs, 1 nerf, and 0 neutral changes. With this character as well, they're also doing a lot of fixing of like her hitboxes and whatnot, but there's one move here that got a buff and nerf. They nerfed the damage on it from 42 to 36, but they changed the frames from 5 to +6 and +11. For Destabilizer, they made it from -9 to -3. They changed another one for attacks from -18 to -4. So they're just making this character able to play the game. Let's move on to the next one. Azuzina, this is the heavy hitter. The balance direction for this character says, adjustments were made to suppress the outstanding performance of certain moves. Additionally, since relying solely on low-risk pokes and overly effective, the performance of such moves has been toned down while enhancing the performance of moves related to special stances. This character has 7 buffs, 3 nerfs, and 0 neutral changes. Of course, their attacking frame, this move here, her 1-1 jab, they made it -9 to -10. So this means you can punish her back with your own jab. For her 2-1, they changed the frames, time recovery on second attack increased by 4 frames. Okay, so yeah, they're taken down her ability to just plus frame you to death. +7, that sounds so crazy anyways. For her move down back 3, they changed the damage from 12 to 14, so that's a buff. From down back 4, they nerfed the damage from 17 to 13. The balance direction for Brian Fury, it says adjustments have been made to improve usability of the new feature introduced in Tekken 8, namely Heat Smash and Snake Eyes. The changes are intended to expand the range of offensive options, particularly in the heat state. This character has 8 buffs, 2 nerfs, and 0 neutral changes. They changed the damage on his heat activation from 45 to 50. They changed the frame advantage from +9 to +15. That's crazy. They changed the opponent's behavior on block has been altered to prevent hitting from walls. That's crazy, bro. So this guy's going to be a monster from -15 to -3. So they're really just like turning the dial from like launch punishable -15 to now you can't punish it at all -3. That's a crazy change there. Claudio only has 1 neutral change, so we'll skip him. Claudio means pause and read this. Devil Jin. It says adjustments have been made to suppress the performance of outstanding techniques. The tracking ability during heat has been weakened as it had an excessively high effect in restraining opponents' actions. The adjustments necessitate the need to apply pressure to opponents using the different options when they are stepping. Okay, so Devil Jin has 1 buff, 2 nerfs, and 1 neutral change. His nerf on his heat, so this is actually pretty good. So his heat attack is no longer full screen from what they're saying, and then they said tracking ability against sidestep has reduced, so you can sidestep it and it no longer will hit you at full screen. That's a great change. Other than that, they really didn't do anything. The balance direction for Dragunov. Adjustments were made to suppress the outstanding performance of certain moves. Regarding down back 3+4, it was noted that regardless of whether the opponent is standing or in the down state, the situation after effect exceptionally favorable, making it easier to use in continuation. Also combined with the other low attacks, making it difficult to punish. Therefore, while presenting characteristics such as high damage, the effects of counter hits, the performance was significantly toned down to consider the compatibility with other moves Dragunov possesses. So Dragunov has 3 buffs and 8 nerfs and 2 neutral changes. With the character Dragunov, they're really toning down a lot of his damage. Like this move here, down forward 3+4, they changed the damage from 23 to 19, but then they're also hitting his frames. Like if we go to forward 4-2, they changed the frames from +6 to +4. The damage from 25 to 22. Yeah, so with Dragunov, they're really changing a lot of his frames, a lot of his damage, and they're really trying to make the character more balanced. Eddie has 3 buffs, 2 nerfs, and 1 neutral change. His buffs seems rather small. They're just changing frames by 1 frame, +5, +6, 13, 14 to just 13. But other than that, it doesn't seem like they're doing anything major to him just yet, which makes sense. He just released. For Fangue, the weakening of the shockwave component during heat, 3+4, makes it less effective to launch powerful attacks from long distance while in heat state. Fangue has 2 buffs, 7 nerfs, and 0 neutral changes, and a lot of his changes come in the form of damage nerfs. Like if you look at this move, up forward 3, change the damage from 20 to 16. Forward 4-3, change the damage from 35 to 33. So they're just making it a little less effective. Next character, Harang, he has 1 buff, 1 nerf. Very simple. You guys can pause and read it if you want. Jack 8 is kind of a monster now. The balance direction for this character says adjustment has been made to enhance the usability of the new feature in Tekken 8, Gamma Howl, aiming to expand options for offense and defense. So in the beta, this was really strong, and then they nerfed it too much, and now they're just trying to bring it back so that it's actually usable. He has 6 buffs, no nerfs, and 2 neutral changes. If you look at the patch notes here, you can see that they're just changing a lot of the frames and trying to find a sweet spot for the character. They're not doing anything too crazy, but they're just tweaking it a little bit. Jin Kazama is interesting. He only has 1 change, and it's a nerf. 1 change. Jin Kazama, this is another head scratcher. This character has 9 buffs, 3 nerfs, and 1 neutral change. A lot of these buffs are fixing hitbox detection, like she has a lot of collision issues. There's a few things here where they're trying to change like the amount of heat that an attack consumes, but I'm not really seeing anything that is like about damage numbers or frame advantage. It's all hitbox related, and you really just have to play the game to get a feel for what that looks like and what will be possible. Kazuya Mishima has 2 buffs and 2 nerfs. This is another character who really doesn't have any frame advantage or damage changes. It's more so just hitboxes changing to make things work or make things better. For King has a total of 1 buff, 1 nerf, and 5 neutral changes. His only nerf is his heat smash, I believe it's called. They changed the damage from 20 to 44 to 20 to 40, so they just knocked off a little bit. You know, King has the most damaging heat smash in the whole game. Maybe after this change that will not be true. For Panda and Kuma, they share 6 buffs, no nerfs, and 3 neutral changes. It's interesting that they buffed this character like this. Like, I see a lot of damage, like 20 to 35, 20 to 40. They changed the damage from 8 to 10 to 12 to 13, 20. Like, they're changing the damage on this character crazy. Panda and Kuma are going to be hitting harder than ever with this balance change. And there's also some spatial changes, so when she hits you, she'll be closer or you'll be farther, so you're definitely going to have to pay attention to that. Lars, this character is very simple. He has 1 buff, 2 nerfs, and 2 neutral changes. Now Leo, this character has 2 changes, 1 buff, 1 nerf. Leroy Smith, this character has the most buffs on this whole entire thing, coming up to a total of 16, and he has 0 nerfs and 1 neutral change. Is this guy the new top tier? I don't know, but his balance direction says enhancements and command additions have been made to new techniques and technique by improving performance of Wing Chun style rapidly strikes and parry sequences. Leroy's unique characteristics have been expanded and excel in both offense and defense. And what they mean by that is now he hits harder. This heat burst does 50 damage instead of 45. They did a lot of changing of frames from 4 to 7, 4 frames, 4 frames, 4 frames. So they're reducing the frames on a lot of his attacks. This guy's going to be able to hit you, recover, and then hit you again. That's going to be interesting. I want to see, you know, a lot of people were saying, Leroy Smith sucks. And I want to see, like, this is what players wanted. 16 buffs. Now let's see in a week if people are complaining and saying he needs to be nerfed. They changed the damage on a few attacks from 10 to 15, 10 to 15, 27 or 20 to 27, 8 frames to 9. So they're really making him a monster. How much are they pushing this guy up? It's quite a lot. So for Lily, Paul, Raven, and also Aena, for these 4 characters, the developers are just focusing on like hitbox issues. They're just trying to make the moves hit when they're supposed to hit, and they're also just trying to fix the tracking on a lot of these things. Some buffs, some nerfs, but it's really small things in comparison to other characters. Steve Fox has a lot. 8 buffs, 1 nerf, and 1 neutral change. Adjustments were made to improve the performance of techniques related to Tekken 8 new feature Lionheart, with a focus of enhancing offense and making it easier to maintain pressure. So they changed the damage from 45 to 50 on his heat smash. On his rage art, they expanded the hitbox upwards. 1+2, the distance of the opponent was reduced when the first hit is blocked, okay? For up forward 2, the movement has been increased to extend the reach of the attack. Okay, nice. So yeah, that's interesting to see how Steve Fox is going to be now. Xiaoyu is another character that people talk about a lot. Her balance direction says adjustments were made to suppress the outstanding performance of certain attacks. Xiaoyu is a character who excels in defense strategizing, utilizing the evasive properties of Phoenix. However, her offensive capabilities are enhanced during heat, compensating for the usually lacking offense aspect. Nevertheless, to address the issue with overwhelming combo damage and the dominance of her hypnosis mix-up, slight adjustments were made to temper this aspect. So this is kind of what people were complaining about on Twitter. Xiaoyu has 3 buffs, 4 nerfs, and 2 neutral changes. They're kind of just doing what Twitter told them to do. Nerfing the damage on this attack here, 23 to 20, 26 to 20. They're changing some frames, reduce recovery by 1 frame. Everything that Twitter was asking for, they're doing with the character Xiaoyu. For Yoshimitsu, I am surprised. 4 buffs, 1 nerf, and 3 neutral changes. His neutral changes all come in a form of like basically trying to make the character hit you more. He has a lot of inconsistencies with his combos and whatnot, so hopefully that stuff is adjusted. I was looking for down 2-2 on this move list, but they did not have it listed, so hopefully that's fixed just like somehow, someday, sometime, I don't know. But other than that, it really looks like a lot of this stuff is just behavior changes. No changes to frames, no changes to damage. Even though Yoshimitsu has some very high damage output, this time around he survives. Zafina, the final character, another weak character. She got 8 buffs, 3 nerfs, and 0 neutral changes. The balance direction for this character says adjustments have been made to improve the performance of moves new to Tekken 8 and expanded the variety of her offensive options. In particular, adjustments have been made to during Tarantula's stance down 4 to make it more effective, means depleting the opponent's health through chip damage. Okay, chip damage. So this character has a lot going on. You have some hitbox changes with her during Heat Scarecrow 2-3. You have some frame changes on her 1-4 from +2 to +22. That's massive. +22? You really have to eat the mix up there. They changed her down 3 to +2 to +5, +4 to +7. Her forward 1+2, they increased the frames. Oh, they increased it from 20 to 23, so they made it faster, and they made it homing, and they changed, they reduced the recovery by 3 frames. Crazy. But they also nerfed it. Where's the nerf? Alter Zafina's state after attack, fix an issue where she was immune to low attacks. Oh, so that's the nerf. Okay. So yeah, that is a lot of stuff that they did with the game. Now this is just the patch notes. We always have to play the game to fully understand how all these things are changing, but just looking at these changes, they're definitely listening to Twitter. Leroy Smith having 16 buffs is insane. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.